Hey, welcome. I'm Marcus Davies. I am a professional mixing engineer. I also produce, songwrite, I do all the shit. I do all the fucking shit. Um, Anyways, today we are talking about my mix for Bridget Mariie Familiar. This is part 2 of 2. Part 1, I was talking about the production elements. So if you haven't seen that, go check that out because that's pretty insightful as to how we got to this point. But if you're just here for the mix, a quick backstory. She is an artist in New York City. She reached out to me. I ended up producing this song. She came to me with a rough demo. So her and I worked together, fleshed it all out, got to a place we're really happy with it, and now we're here at the mixing stage. So I'm going to talk about the nerdy mixing audio stuff about all this, which honestly might be my favorite. I fucking love mixing. So it's a great song. It's fucking cool. It's super spooky. Good elements. Great arrangement. It changes keys. It's in a fun tempo, which feels like it kind of shifts. Really cool production on this. So again, check out that video if you haven't. But yeah, let me play some of it for you, and we'll jump right in. Cool, yeah. Very cool. Every section is different. Like, it's in a different key. It has a different feel, a different emotion. It's very cool. The song kind of goes in a bunch of different places. So when we want it to feel spooky and ominous, like in the verses, that's exactly what we did. And the choruses, to me, feel like a whimsical carnival kind of thing where it's like in a major key, things are happier, but there's this weird underlying tone of it's still ominous and mysterious, precarious, whatever. And then the bridge to me is like the heartbreaking, just very heavy, very serious kind of section. So let's talk about how we got there. Let me start with the drums. We'll come back to vocals. This is a programmed drum kit. It was like a stadium kind of drum kit that was in Native Instruments machine that I used. And then I could see that I triggered the kick and I triggered another snare sample and toms apparently. Okay, just to beef it up and give it more of like just a more acoustic drum kit kind of feel. So let's go right down the line. Let's talk about kick drum. So exciting. Nothing to note there. I did fucking nothing to it. A big part of mixing is knowing when not to do something just as much as it is when to do something. So that didn't need fucking shit. Really, all this thing needed was an extra little oomph of a sample, which we can look at here. Kick 4. What the fuck is kick 4? It sounds like this. Right, so there's my attack. So I'm getting all my low end from the 1, and then I'm getting all my ticky-tack click stuff up from up here because I'm rolling off at 80 hertz. So together, great. Keep it rolling. Kick drum. Ooh, goodness. A touch of distortion on this. Man, that's the lightest I've ever been on this plugin. Oh, shit. Something like that, right? Just a touch. Even the mix is down. Neve. Yeah, I usually use the Neve when I need something softer than E, which is the EMI, Abbey Road, fucking something. So the Neve just kind of smoothens it out. It just kind of, it's like just less aggressive to me. Very little bit of tone shaping, just a little beef at 60 hertz. That's it. Not touching the top end. That is super simple. I'm surprised I'm just doing that. But what that tells me is I'm doing more shit in parallel, and that's where I'm getting a little more of my tone shaping from, because it was a great sounding drum kit. It came with saturation, a little bit of compression, and it had like a little bit of a maximizer on there. So it's already kind of beefed up coming into the mixing point. So there's not a whole lot I needed to do to this. Moving on to the snare. We'll come back to all this parallel stuff in a minute. Snare, lo-fi, rolling off pretty steep at 6.1K. That is abnormal. Okay, cool. That's the sample from my programming. Snare sample. Cool. Ooh. I think I've used this twice in my life, and this is one of them, just a basic tilt EQ. So, kind of like the kick drums, where like one is dark and the other is bright. I think that's what we're doing here. I bet there's something nasty up here, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Yeah, you kind of see all that shit? I think that was bugging me. So this was my compensation for that, was to make this guy the bright shit. Adding more harmonics to brighten it up, adding more top end to brighten it up. So that's really what we're doing here. There you go. So yeah, in tandem. So let's just do kick and snare, and I'll turn off my little samples. Yeah, it just feels like a more fully realized version of itself, doesn't it? Nothing fancy. Again, man, just a touch. Barely adding a little bit of body. Mostly about the sizzle. There's her body in the 100 hertz there. Oh, I bet this is doing a lot. Yeah, see, on its own with the drum soloed like this, I do like it without. But I bet in the mix I just needed that to cut through. Let's find out. Yeah, don't hate it without. Don't hate it without. But I need a little more crack, so I got it. Moving on, toms. These are the toms coming from the drum kit. Yeah, just kind of basic, normal. There's not a ton of life in there. It's just solid tom drums. Cool. And I added my own samples. Never tom 1, never tom 2. Easy. Piece of cake. Again, just a touch of saturation there. Ooh, yeah, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Again, same kind of smiley face here, EQ at the end. A little bit of stick attack at 4K, a little bit of beef at 100. But this, toms, I'm not a fan of toms that just kind of ring out and just fucking linger, you know? That's annoying. They just hang out. So let's see with and without this. Again, not adding any attack. I have got plenty of that. I just need to get them out of the way sooner. Yeah, it's just too much beef at the end for me. It's just too much beef. And again, let's listen to the whole drum mix. And this will be a little more indicative of what's actually happening there. Yeah, I don't want it hanging out over that downbeat. That's bullshit. Get it out of there. You still got the good tone, you know? That's all you need. Cool, hi-hats. Let's talk about it. What the hell are we doing here? Yeah, that was just a cool part, I thought, right? Because it's not happening in the first verse. It's just kick, snare, and some toms. But here, just it's just keeping the arrangement fresh and just not doing a total copy and paste over, and just making it something we haven't heard before, which I thought was really cool because it really just kind of chokes everything up, and then I think it was cool. Easy peasy. Oh, barely moving. Look at all that compression. Squashing it. No EQ, no nothing else, just adding harmonics, making it a bigger sound, right? Because that's all the compressor is here to do, is just kind of beef up the size. So let's actually hear a rhythm of that. Yeah, I mean, it's subtle, but it's something, and this is probably the exact same thing. Looks like it. This one, again, is getting a little bit more hammered. Just out of control. These are all programmed. They're all clean sounds, so if anything, I just need to beef them up. That's really what it's looking like we're doing. Yeah, again, same thing. These might all be the exact fucking same. A little bit different on the harmonics. So these last two are crush on the rides. Alright, that one's a flavor. We could talk about that. This is just a basic ride up here, but then I used a different sample. Like if he's doing the bell up here, then I got the drummer doing the, more of the shank of the stick, the ride bell. So I have these mislabeled. That's awesome. Interesting. Yeah, I'm looking at the EQ thinking I'm just hammering it or just rolling off all that top end, but I'm not touching shit. It's just this saturator. Wow, okay, that one's surprising. Because I knew I just wanted like a wash type of sound over this bridge. So I guess this is how I got it. Although, yeah, it's already pretty washed out. I wonder if I did something and committed it, which doesn't look like it though. This would have said CM, right? But yeah, okay, that's just the sound. Maybe that was part of why I picked the drum kit. Cool. Okay, let's see what's happening, right? Cymbals are going to parallel drums. Also, Sans Amp are getting all these cymbals, and these are all the fucking same. Cool. So it looks like everything's going to parallel drums and the Sans Amp, which for me is parallel distortion. Okay, so now we'll get to all my drum auxes down here. So drums is just my main drum aux, like everything's going here. We'll go to a chorus. So that's great. That's really rich. That really fills things out. Doesn't get too crazy. Mixes is only at 48%. But that's pretty good. That's almost like throwing a tape emulator on it kind of thing. Like it just kind of treats the whole fucking kit. It sounds pretty good to me. Again, just kind of gets everything up into level. Like this is not a drum forward song, so the drums are just they just need to do their thing, hold it down. So that's really what we're doing. It's just taming some of the peaks and stuff. So dual mono. If there's a big drum fill on the left side, it's not going to affect the right. Yeah, okay, barely even moved. Barely moved. Small moves, but hey, together. Let me go to a chorus. Yeah, so these little guys, like all these harmonics here, like that does a lot in terms of the EQ or the tone of it, right? It's like I'm not doing this with an EQ, I'm doing it with my little saturator box. And then again, this has harmonics in it, and it's just adding a little bit of level and just overall mastering kind of compression, which is cool. But let's talk about the parallel drums, which apparently everything is getting a little bit less of the cymbals, it looks like. A little bit less of the cymbals, and the shells will be a unity, I know that. So we're taking off the supers lows, taking off some of the middle honk at that nasty 500. Yeah, that's nice, man. Does that thing slap down there on the snare? Really cool, really, really cool. Let's hear this on its own. It's definitely mostly about the snare drum. 10-1, cool, loud, crush it, bring it up in parallel. Like, let's hear this with and without. Yeah, okay, two things for me. It's the length of the snare and then the cymbals. Like sending these, and this is what'll change. I'm always sending unity gain from the shells to a parallel, to my parallel bus here. I love that, but cymbals will change. Sometimes I don't use any, but it totally matters. And like, you know, this is definitely kind of like a washiness to the cymbals where it just kind of needs to be a sheet of those upper harmonics just filling out the sound, just kind of holding, sustaining in a way. So that's what this is all about. Cool. Love it. Drums dirt. This again is getting the full copy of the drum kit, just like my main bus. So let's see what's happening here. Double lock, so good. Gotta love it. Again, that fucking 500. God damn, I hate you. Okay. Damn. That is huge to the sound. Huge. Which, yeah, now that I'm looking at it, we're at -18 on here. And usually for like a, say like a rock drum mix, you know, this will be at like -23, -30, somewhere way down there. -18 though, this is up definitely higher than normal. And I think I might be hitting this higher than normal, at least as far as like darkness, rolling it back. So this is just good. Chaotic, extreme compression kind of energy. Yeah, that's wild to hear it like without the main drums in there. Drums, dirt, drums, or parallel drums in the dirt, you know, it's just none of that sounds good. That sounds fucking terrible. But that sounds terrible on its own too. Like that sounds like shit. And you bring in the juice. Yeah, that's what it's about. Right there. Right there. That's the stuff. So again, I still have more parallel drum buses here. PKS, parallel kick snare. Kick snare only goes to this. So you see unity gains both there on the kick and snare. Supercharger, fucking love this thing. That's actually hitting pretty mild. I think I'm getting enough juice from like the dirt and the parallel that I don't need to be squashing it here as much. But this definitely, this really for me is what keeps the kick and snare up front and center. It's the PKS. Yeah, just a little dabble do ya, right? I'm at 26.4, but that's just on the downbeat here. Right, really I'm living at -31. So that downbeat, that's something I do a lot just to add a little bit of oomph. And here I see we're building. Yeah, just making that land a little bit harder, right? It just feels more intense, more urgent. Sans amp, you're up. What? Oh, so there's my Sans amp. We're not using it. There's my alternate, which is the 1073. We're not using that either. What is there? Are you? Whoa. A drum room. So it's not Sans amp at all. It's a fucking drum room. Interesting. What are we... Who's getting this? Oh, yeah, fucking duh. I remember what I'm doing now. Yep. Everything is going to the Sans amp because this is a programmed kit. I don't have room mics, so I'm faking it. And if you don't have room mics, this is a good way to fake it. You know, there's Capital Rooms, UAD has a bunch of great of these. This was new. Anybody else ever get a new plugin and then just put it on fucking everything you can? Yeah, that's what I did. This is really cool because shout out to these guys. They ran that crazy good sale after UAD and Guitar Center fucked up. Y'all remember that? I do. These guys had a great sale, so I hopped on, and yeah, this is what I got. Yeah, it's a fun one. So that just kind of puts things in a space for me. It helps. Let's do a little with and without. This will probably be quite subtle, but it does something. That's glue, is all that is for me. Like a little thing that just kind of ties the kit together, puts everything in a room, which it was not because it's all programmed drums. So that's a great way to fake a drum room. All of these drum auxes go to my drum sum. We are not using that, so we don't get to talk about it. IDX, man. It's definitely a magic box. Like, I don't fucking know what this does. It's upward movement. It's a little bit of a smiley face EQ. It's great. It really is like a smart plugin. Like, this is definitely one to pick up from Waves. I really do enjoy this. Yeah, man. If you just need to add energy into something without, like, you know, really changing the sounds or the tones, like, that really can come in handy. I don't always use it, but man, when I do, I love it. Holy shit. Okay. I had no fucking clue this was on here. I've never done this before, ever. Tape Mellify. Dude, great plugin. I love this thing. Super creative. How I ended up with this on the drum, but like all of it. It wasn't a parallel. This is on everything, which is fucking bananas to me. Let's see what we do. Okay, we're getting a bit of compression, like it's bringing up the low-level information as well as just kind of, you know, rolling off some of the high highs, taming it, which is just kind of like, I guess, the tape thing. But damn, that's crazy. I had no idea. Let me go to something else here. Yeah, you can really hear like the room kind of come up, like the room. Damn, that's wild. I've never done that. I don't know why I did that. Taking out a little bit of mud, boosting a little bit of top. No automation. Very, very simple. Love 10K, hate 300. That's pretty much a universal law. I really don't like that. So creating a little bit of a resonant, you know, filter kind of thing at the top where you boost and then you cut right next to it. Very, very handy. Things are getting a little bit of reverb as well. Before that reverb, filtering off the super highs, super lows. Love doing that. Excuse me, Lexicon 224. Awesome. Large Hall. Cool. No, a little bit of pre-delay. And and distorting it after the fact quite severely. So that's cool. Let's see what's getting it. No cymbals. Wait, here it is. So I'm getting toms. The snare's getting it. Oh, I wanted more. So I got more sample than the more of my new snare trigger. You know what I mean? More than the other sample. And no kick, which makes sense. Let's see how drastic this is. Okay, so this already has some verb baked into the sound, but I do like what this is doing. Man, yeah, to store your reverbs after that is so cool, especially when you have something like this, like it's so spacious. Putting distortion on after that, like you just really hear the reverb just kind of float out into the space. It adds a little bit of movement. It's picking up some of those, low-level details. Big fan of doing that. EQ it, compress it, distort it like this, whatever. Just do something to it. So that is the drum sound. Very cool. And then we have our percussion elements. So we have our cool little sticky sticks, which we remember me talking about, right? If you saw the last video. If you haven't, go back. And again, just finding that right level where that third note in this 6/8 loop, that third one dips down in volume, and it really gives you that egg flowing or egg rolling down a hill kind of thing, right? Ah, it's so cool. Like it gets small right before that big kick or that big snare. Versus if I do this, right, I'm going to do this again. Everybody hang in there. I'm going to boop. We'll boop. And then we'll bring it up. Yeah, that's so much more interesting. It has so much more character. There's emotion. It creates that vibe, like more of a haunting kind of just, floating, rolling thing. Like that's way more interesting than just keeping it flat the whole time, right? That's boring. So really cool thing. I wish a lot more people did. It's a super easy way to add movement into your track. What else are we doing here? Crushing it. Super cool. Reverb. Again, this is one that I had just gotten, so yeah, I put it everywhere I could. Yeah, this dark cave, I really liked that. And then just putting it right in between the early levels and late level stuff, like it was super cool. Yeah, so without it, with it, like that just, to me, it adds some kind of like subdivision, even though it's only on chord notes. Like it's like ducking some of the transients, like the reverb, so it just gets a little more interesting this way, right? Like that to me just kind of creates a little bit of like a subdivision thing without doing anything too drastic to it. So these sticks are all about the movement of it. And just taking off a little bit of high, because lo-fi is what's in right now. Okay, moving on. We have whooshes. which lead into each of the big kick drums, which I love. Yeah, you see it's down at -14. I like it there at -5. I definitely had it up higher as an effect. But, you know, I have to serve the song. That's my whole job as a mixer. And keeping it up there that loud wasn't necessarily helping. It was almost too distracting. So putting it in there just adds to the drum kit sound. Because, again, it's just so much more theatrical, dramatic, and severe sounding with it in there. Yeah, for me it just really helps enhance that little tom pickup, that boom. It just really makes it feel so much more dynamic and energetic and alive and all that good stuff. Shaker MD, that's me, just my recording of a Keurig K-Cup. If you want the best tone, get the hazelnut. French roast is fucking bullshit. Again, it's all about like not quantizing it. Like the kick and snare are pretty on the beat exactly. But to make this thing feel alive and really let it breathe and move properly and match the emotion that we're going for with our vision, it's letting things rub, letting things be imperfect in this beautiful way. And that's how you get a track to feel like it's coming alive, right? Like if everything's just on the grid and perfect, that's boring as fuck. Perfection is boring. Like, fuck that. Let it be weird. Let it be weird. The coolest shit is weird. Yeah, any kind of shaker or tambourine, I usually like to darken it, bring up the harmonic, saturation, all that. I'm sure I am doing the exact same thing on this shaker loop, which is happening in the choruses. Isn't that cool? Yeah, it's subtle, but like, man, that having that little subdivision in there just really does a lot. Yeah, because everything's just moving big and slow. Everything's kind of hitting big and slow. So just a little bit of that just kind of helps with that major lift of that chorus, right? Like that is the vibe. That's what it needed. So that is it for my percussion, right? These sticks go to their own little bus. These other guys go to their bus, which is doing just a little bit of basic filtering. Love it. And I'm not automating anything other than just that volume there. Cool. Let's talk about this stuff now. These special sound effects that do a lot. So here's that same exact whoosh sound that's up here that I committed to putting in with like the drums and percussion. Here it is again, just to add emphasis going into the second verse here. Without. Yeah, man, it's so much more dramatic putting it in there. I love that. Such a cinematic sound. Again, that's the only place where it's happening other than the stuff at the very front. So that is cool. We have a couple other effects here. Just transitional stuff that really helps make an impact. It really like marks, this is a new section, this is a new vibe, a new energy, all that stuff. Like this stuff really goes a long way. So here's a swell that goes into a glass explosion that signifies the downbeat, right? Super cool. And then here's a little reverse cymbal going into the last chorus. Basic stuff. But man, without it, you really, really miss it. So these all go to my little extras, some down here. So if I play this with and without, you tell me which one you like better. Yeah, it's just less extreme, right? Like everybody's yelling the vocals of that part. It's a big thing, so you just gotta follow the energy into it and carry it over. Like you just get that downbeat with nothing fun happening. It's just falls flat. Just falls flat. And it's not like that's happening on every chorus downbeat either, right? It's picking and choosing your moments. If it's a rock thing, I might do like a little explosion sound on every like downbeat of the chorus. You know, something like that, just boom, boom, boom. But this ain't that, so that's not what's happening. Bass is the place. Two very different sounds here happening. I have a synth bass, which is just kind of mostly just kind of low end rumble, fills out the frequencies, and that's coming in on the chorus, the first chorus. It comes in on the first chorus and carries all the way through, so there's nothing happening in the front as far as this synth bass goes. Right, a little bit gnarly, a little bit kind of crunchy and just thick. The green screamer, basically a tube screamer. Very cool on bass, very, very cool. Brings up all that mid-range. I'm sure this was all nasty over 1400. Yeah, some of this stuff right up here just gets a little too gnarly. And then I find I usually got to clear out some room of the bass between 100 hertz and 200, like somewhere. It's usually like 130, 160 can be commonly trouble. So that's cool for synth bass. In addition to synth bass, we have an upright bass. So these two have to work together, right? So let's see what the upright is doing. Very cool, right? I mean, that is fingers and groove. So like, let me play this with the drums, because that is just so damn cool. Yeah, this is everything here, right? I'm understanding the role of what this bass is supposed to do, because we have the synth bass. I made that before I made the upright bass. This was an afterthought that came in later. The synth bass holds down the weight. It's big. It's full. It's exactly what it was intended to be. So knowing that, when making this upright bass part, we knew that it was going to be more attack, more about the percussive elements as opposed to holding a sustain of a note, right? Like this isn't supposed to add big low-end energy. This is supposed to add movement, rhythm, feel. So something like this is massive with the Transient Designer. All about the attack. I don't want any release, because really, when I take this out, the drums lose the battle, and the bass, this is too overbearing. But when I put this Transient Designer back in, all of a sudden there's room, and it's more about the groove. Right, now it fits into the mix. And you can see the rest of the signal chain. That's really what this is all about, right? So what am I doing? Boosting a bunch of 1.5. Gotta love that mid-range drive. Similar kind of thing. Taking away that big low, boosting up the big high. All about the mid-range. Tilting it brighter more than darker already. Adding more harmonics. Doing all this stuff to brighten it up. And then this, this was more noticeable early on, like, and then I dialed it back. So it's not that noticeable, but it's a little bit of a texture thing. Yeah, anyways. I thought it'd be fun to kind of just make a little bit of a slap thing there. How fast is this? Like 83, yeah. Pretty quick slap. So let's hear these two guys together. Yeah, pretty cool. You can see I even clip gain down the upright bass just to really kind of keep it out of the way. It's more percussive in this chorus anyways. Like, it's really more about the verses and stuff. Very cool. Both of those basses go to bass sum, where our bass was failing me. Like, that did not help at all. This usually helps a bunch, but something weird was happening where I didn't like it. Only thing happening here, nothing else is on, even though that you see all these moves, but the unit is off. De-esser, am I really de-essing? No, I'm only doing kick. I'm just sidechaining from the kick. Not even doing that much. You see, like, -6, maybe it's like 7 or 8, but I'm usually, -9 is lighting up down here. So I'm not doing a whole lot, but this is sidechained from the kick. So the kick is winning the low end battle below 64 hertz. I'm getting the bass out of the way of the kick. Oh, well, there you go. This also sidechained from the kick. This is a redundancy. Sometimes I do this where I don't want any of the bass fighting with the kick. Yeah, that's all that is. Just making sure one of these two is winning the low-end battle. In this case, the kick. General tone shaping, taking out a little bit of that mud, boosting a little bit of the mid-range so it can cut through. And there's nothing up there that's helpful to us. Boom, there's the bass. We are moving right along. Now we have a bunch of synths and keys and all this fun stuff. Yeah, bold moves, pan them out hard wide, because who cares? Right, those are similar, but not exactly the same. Cool. Fun. That hangs out for a long time. That's okay. Okay, cool. So these two working together, what I'm looking at and what I'm thinking my thinking was, these are out wide, these 4, and then I have like this main tone coming up the middle. So it starts out with like this wide image and then ends in the middle. So let's listen to that in context. Yeah, it's cool. It kind of pulls it in into the middle. A little bit of your focus more on that one, two, two. Yeah, cool. I don't have a whole lot to say about that. What are we doing? Just harmonics, making it be able to cut through the mix, right? Rolling off quite a bit of low end here. Similar thing here, brightening up even more so. And just a different kind of distortion here. So let me do this. Yeah, man, it just disappears without it. Sounds like these, yeah, saturation is going to be your best friend. I almost will never, if I hear this, I'm just not reaching for an EQ, right? I'm doing it here. This is going to do it. This is what I need. Instead of, if I reach for an EQ, I'm still going to need saturation to help this thing cut through the mix. So I might as well EQ with this thing. So I love EQing with Decapitator. This is just really great. Like this dark bright knob is fucking amazing, and all these different modules, different tones. Goddamn, I love this thing. And then just Heatwave. I don't know. This is free from Slate. It's just a different unit, so I'm not always using Decapitator. This could be anything, really. It worked. It did what it needed to do. How much is it really doing? Again, it just kind of beefs it up and helps things cut through. Terrific. Oh, yeah, this is going to be pretty common. Just taking on a little bit of this, boosting a little bit of that. Very good. Love it. Let's go back, see what else we got. Okay, lead guitar, which again is not lead guitar. But I'm just grouping things similarly, right? So these are all kind of harp, plucky things. So yeah, I'll group all those together. And then I have more sustained things like pads and cellos and strings. Those can get their own group, right? So that's all I'm doing here is just organizing my session that way so I can, if I wanted to throw something on the bus, to affect all these plucky things, I can do that. But I didn't do that. I'm treating things individually, which there's your EMI on the Decapitator. Let's see, this one's got the Neve at different settings. This one's the A. I forget what the A is. Aphex or something. I don't know. But I also love the A. And there it is. Harp Plucks, though, you get nothing. You were great as is. Well done. Let's see what's actually happening. Yeah, same exact kind of concept, right? It's just helping. I'm just EQing with Decapitator. And this is enough to get the job done. It's just that one little plugin. Literally nothing else is happening except not even a full dB down, not even a full dB up. Just general tone shaping. That's all we're doing. No other automations, no other nothing. It's just, the automation part of this is really just coming from the arrangement. Yeah, that's it. Then you're just kind of bouncing the fader, finding a home for it. And there you go. It's pretty easy when the production is done well. Not to sound cocky or toot my own horn, but these are things that I'm paying attention to when I was making the production. So it's making my job easier here at the end of things. Pad, what are you? Cool. Again, living on this tone knob right now. Living on it. Ooh, okay, fun. C swells, just chorus swells, whatever that sound may be. Cool. Yeah, super basic stuff. This is really, it's like building tone, but then other than that, it's faders and pans. That's kind of it. And if I need to make changes, like you see, I got a little bit of automation happening here. And that's nothing. That's really just kind of getting things out of the way there and emphasizing the downbeats. So just really taking the time to be able to make sure it has a home. Trimming the fat. There's nothing here that shouldn't be here. What do we got here? Yeah, that's really subtle on that one. That's a great sound. I'm up on one. I'm driving the input a little bit. Really not doing much else. That's a subtle one. Yeah, there it is. There's your mid range. So why do I have this in here as well as that? So I need the EQ, but I picked this one in particular. Again, just kind of being intentional with things. You see this right here? I'm kind of doing my leveling here because I'm so lopsided, which you can tell by these meters here. Yeah, so the right side was slamming hard coming out of here because that was just how it is in the original patch, the sample. It was just right side heavy. So I'm compensating for that here on the back end. If I was doing compression, like going into a compressor, I would do this before, right? I wouldn't be doing this at the very end. I would want the compressor to react evenly, I think. Maybe you'd be cool with that. Who knows? Yeah, okay, let's just keep going down the line here. B strings. Oh, now we're in the bridge stuff. Different tones, different samples. Which I'm a big fan of. A scene change, if you can always switch it up, keep things interesting for the listener, that's how you get people engaged, and they'll stay around and pay attention to your song for 3.5 minutes. Yeah, this is something I really noticed with the strings, like turning this tone knob on the decapitator, turning it to the right to brighten it up. Really, on strings, it just adds like more of a real feeling to it. Like I notice it more than anything else, really. So I love decapitator, if you haven't noticed. Beefing it up, because the bass kind of takes a back seat, right? The bass is there, you're feeling it, but it's all about the strings and the bridge. All about the strings. So I'm not afraid to boost a little bit of that low end because I already got my top end boost down here. Very cool. B strings 2, what you got? Same but different. Here's that same thing where the right side's just too heavy. So compensating here, but I'm also boosting 220 there. So beefing it up. So I'm boosting 100 down here, then on this patch I'm boosting 220, just so I'm not doing a redundancy of EQ, I suppose. High 2. Very high indeed. Boosting all that low end, just trying to fill up the low end stuff so it can be heard. Yeah, subtle, but it's a nice little sound, just a little bit of air on top of everything. And something similar here on high, the other high one. Yeah, this one's more noticeable because there's more meat to it. So, all together, these guys. So cool. This was such a big thing that I was thinking about, which again is just taking clues from her original demo. But man, like scene changes and the importance of scene changes. Like it's just really focus on that when you're thinking about arranging your song or you're fleshing out productions. Because the bridge in this song, again, I sound like a broken record, but it's such a different emotional response than what's happening in the choruses. So that is everything. So here we are in the mix, and I don't have to do that much because in the production stage I was focused on the arrangement and those scene changes. That these are different sounds, so these are already different from the way I, from each other, which is how I intended. So you get a nice scene change. Oh, that's so nice. That's so nice. Fresh Air doing this is another kind of mystery box, but it works so well. It's EQ, it's tone shaping, but it's more than just like boosting top end. There's more happening here. There's a lot of harmonics. Yeah, just that little bit of air right on the top end of it for strings. There's just nothing better. And here we are doing more harmonics. Yeah, that really brings out that top line, that that note that's sustaining from the second to third chord there. I love it. Adding in all these harmonics, really filling out the frequency range. So this is just to kind of keep room for the vocals. That's all this is. Yeah, just a little subtle move. So these are all little moves, right? And there we are again, just a dB down, dB up. That was a big theme across the whole thing. Just kind of brighten it, bring shit up. So harmonics, distortion, distortion, distortion. That was the name of the game on this one. Is the way it's looking. EQing with distortion. Man, let's fucking let's take all this shit off. See how different this is, huh? Yeah, super cool, man. I love it. I love doing this. And this is going to Buenos, which is awesome. That is a total ripoff from Chad Blck, but it's okay to rip it off because Andrew Sheps also rips it off from Chad Blck. So as long as we give the goat the credit, we're good. A little bit of flanger, pushing it out wide, making it weird. And here we are again. This always does that. There you go. Pushing out wide with Mondo Mod. Again, who knows what this is doing, but it's just giving it movement, which we love. And then pushing it out even wider with micro shift. You could use that in spreader, but yeah, so cool. So let me see if we can notice a size difference. Subtle, but it's just a little bit of just, right on the outside, just a little bit of wishy-washy. It's cool. It's very cool. Let me emphasize it for you. Yeah, if this was a instrumental record, no vocals, I might be doing something like that just because I can get away with it. But no, this is great for this track. Moving on to this big instrumental break that we added in the bridge. We doubled the length, and she said put some strings in it, make it cool, and a lot of movement and stuff. So she sent me some references, and I made this. Was my first pass. Great. And then she told me to push it even further, so I did. How cool is that? Yeah, so we got like a waltz on the left, and then on the right there's this crazy arpeggiated 6-note thing, right? So together it's really cool dynamic. I mean, it's super fun. But it's all over these big sustaining strings and keys, and everything's still very kind of serious, but this is just kind of adds to the epicness of it. And again, when we get to that third chord that I love so much, it just really it just feels kind of heartbreaking, right? Before I play it, I also added a little chromatic line that just kind of falls down, that follows the main chord structure. So let me put everything in. So cool. So yeah, I programmed those in, I believe, Contact. And then I ran it through my pedal board here. This Boss ME50 multi-effects unit. So you can see my notes of what I did for each one. So like that waltz on the left, I have it set to presence on the tone modifier. Great. Slight drive on the natural setting, so it's really not doing that much. A little bit of chorus, and the sustain is just the name for the compressor on here. So that's all that is. And you can see each one's a little bit different. I got a univibe on the chromatic thing, and I'm doing an octave down. Great. Enhance is the tone modifier, whatever that means. Overdrive, compression. Awesome. So I thought these pedal boards, like these bounces through the pedal board, were gonna replace the original samples, but I liked everything together. It just felt more full and dramatic, and just made it more of a lead instrument. So everything is hanging out together. So let's listen in the mix, and I can mute the, is that this? Yeah, that is that. I'll mute the pedals and just see how much of a difference that's actually making. Yeah, I don't know, man. I like it better with it, you know? They just kind of help each other. So, great. So be it. What do I care? Ooh, fun. A real plugin, like an actual EQ and channel strip and all that. What are we actually doing here? A little bit of dynamics, a little bit of boosting the meat up at like 300. Now the vocals are gone, there's some room up there. And then taking some of the harshness out at 3K. Yeah, I'm not seeing any gain reduction happening, but I feel like it's bringing up some of the low level stuff. So between that and this little bump up at 400 hertz, whatever that is, that's really what's happening there. Taking out some of the harshness. A lot of the harshness. That's doing a lot. This is also getting Buenos. This is more percussive, so this will probably sound a little bit cooler with Buenos, and I'll over exaggerate it. Right, like now I'm hearing like the waltz in the right speaker, and things are getting crazy. But a little dab will do ya. Super fun. Okay, keys. Let's talk about them. These are her original keys. I just kind of did a little bit of basic editing to tighten things up a bit, but not too tight. Yeah, I didn't do any audio. This is her audio from whatever synths or keyboards or virtual instruments she had. Cool. Yeah. Okay. These are all very different sounds, but they kind of work together. So I don't like any of them in particular, but together I'm with it. So what are we doing? Taking out a bunch of lows, boosting 5.6, boosting even more highs and distortion. So big difference on this guy here. Cool. Yeah, still not like too bright or thin or anything. It's just adding mostly what it didn't have. Yeah, I remember these two big like fundamental frequencies down here, like the first harmonic. Like that was really a problem area. That's cool. Again, I just can't hear it in the mix without that. And then even more, 300, 500 and 300. Fuck that shit. Yeah, you just don't need that down there in the mix. Cool. Keys, some all together now. Yeah, these are all muddy and dirty and big, thick keyboards. So there's a lot there. There's too much there. So that's really all this is about. Because the bass needs some room to breathe. Man, they all got that too. Okay. Very cool. Let's keep going. Bowed. Cool sounds, man. Cool, spooky sounds. Yeah, just a little bit of resonance down there at the fundamentals. Cool. String slide. And that's all that does. That just repeats wherever that is. String slide, one of my favorite sounds. Not doing anything to it. Yeah, it just happens twice in the whole song, but man, is that cool. If it doesn't need anything, don't fuck with it. Same thing here. Yeah, just chatter, strings, you know, chatter. Man, so cool. Just make it weird, dude. Lean into it. This is a spooky song. That's why I have the group called Spookies. And that's all this down here is the Spookies, man. Because, well, let me take it out. Let me take it out. It's just not going to hit the same. Yeah, again, just being smart with the arrangement. They come out when the vocals come in. This one little thing comes back, leading into the chorus. Yeah, man, super cool. Oh, I love ear candy like that. But if the sound is right, you know, like I said earlier, mixing, a big part of it is knowing when not to do something. Not everything needs a plug-in on it, and if it does, maybe it's just a little bit of harmonics and that's it. Like this is one of the most minimal mixes I think I've ever done. Really cool. So all that's left, vocals. So let's look at the leads. She sent me 3 takes of the lead vocal as individual stems, and I looked at that and I thought, great, I have a left, center, right. I found out later, after this was all done, that she intended to, like, I just think, like, 3 different takes, so you could, like, pick and choose and comp together or something, or whatever. But I was like, oh. No, I thought this was so cool. Like, I always knew I was going to do, like, a big, wide vocal, especially in the verses. And this just worked out that she had 3 kick-ass takes, so boom, left, center, right. Let's do it.
Mirror, eternal, familiar, forgotten, twin flame, freckles, warm blood in your veins. Must have known you long before I knew your name.
Hell yeah. Love it. Love it. Left, center, right, man. Just fuck it up, get weird. What are we doing? She recorded this under a blanket in her closet in New York City, I think. So it sounded great. I didn't have to do anything to it. What am I doing? Just a little bit of resonance.
Mirror, eternal, familiar, forgotten, twin flame.
Yeah, it's the same recording setup for all of them, so they each get that. That puts me right there in the ballpark, and then doing most of the processing right here on these lead vocal buses. Shep's Omnichannel, dude, so good. You can't beat it. Saturation, so I don't have to EQ as much. A little bit of filter down at 80. What am I doing here? Pulling out low shelf at 260. Pulling out a little bit of mud, somewhat sharp bandwidth at about 500. Pulling out some nasty 2.5 and pulling out really sharp at 4K. Great. And these are small moves, right? Fucking dB, dB, 2 dB, 4 dB at the bottom. Great. How much compression are we doing? We are in duo mode, right? So left and right are compressing independently of each other.
Mirror, eternal, familiar.
Let's go to a chorus to look at that.
Drunken angel, want you to live. Everything I couldn't give.
So compression, you know, pushes down in volume, but what this is doing for me right here is kind of pulling it forward in front of the mix. So 3-0, 22 attack, 200 release, great. VCA, sure. That sounded great. She doesn't need a whole bunch of squeeze, and that's not really appropriate for her, because this is like just a very dynamic lyric where I want to be able to, like, it's almost like a struggle. Like, it should be Man, if I was to do this like a pop vocal and it's just right in your fucking face, front and center the whole time, you never lose focus of it, that would be doing a disservice to the song. So letting it be dynamic and not stepping on her performance in that way is what this song needed.
Mirror, eternal, familiar, forgotten, twin flame. Freckles, warm blood in your veins.
Oh, the freckles, warm blood, like when it it changes in volume right there. That's so good.
Freckles, warm blood in your veins.
This whole thing is just moving and it's like pulsating and it's just it's crazy, man. Like why would I fuck that up? Again, knowing when not to do something is one of the most important things.
Freckles, warm blood in your veins. Must have known you long before I knew your name.
Yeah, great. That's just so necessary for this. You got 3 vocals, all compounding frequencies because it's all the same performance and signal chain, voice, all that. So something like that is super helpful. Oh, fresh air in a vocal. Who doesn't love it?
Freckles, warm blood in your veins. Must have known you long before I knew your name.
Yeah, boosting that top end, a little bit of air, a little bit of sizzle, makes it sound professional, gives it some sparkle. Love it. And that is it for the lead vocal bus, like the main bus. I also have a parallel lead vocal. Let's see what we're doing here. And I'm going to mute the lead vocal so we can really just hear what this is doing.
Freckles, warm blood in your veins. Must have known you long.
Again, kind of like whatever else we were looking at before, putting it in duo mode. So these are reacting differently to each other because now I'm talking about control. With the parallel lead vocal, I want to hammer it a little bit harder. And this is mostly to keep a consistent thing. So then I have a consistent vocal track and then I have a dynamic vocal track. And those together work in tandem so I never lose her in the vocal mix. Because if I didn't have the parallel lead vocals, then you would be straining a little too much to be able to hear the lyrics and the vocals would just be a little bit too buried. But with this, she sits right where she needs to.
Freckles, warm blood in your veins. Freckles, warm blood in your veins.
Yeah, it just helps her sit at attention. You just don't lose her at that point. Again, this might be the same exact, slightly different. But those low mids were just getting too out of control.
Freckles, warm blood in your veins. Must have known you long before I knew.
Just clearing it out of the way of all those strings and keys that are living right there in the mid-range. Great. I'm not doing either of those. This is muted. No, I just muted that. Air. This is a cool thing that sometimes works, sometimes does not work. It is a gate, very tight.
Freckles, warm blood in your veins.
Right, so it's not even like a lot of sustain of some of these notes. It's very, very tight. Punish, 10, great. And then 16K and up. This sounds like absolute garbage on its own. Let me show you. Right, that fucking sucks. But let me pop it in and out. Let's go to a chorus. And I'll make it really easy for you. I'll solo the vocals.
Drunken angel, want you to live. Everything I couldn't give.
It's exactly that 16K and up. Just a little bit of air, a little bit of sizzle on top. It just makes it sound expensive, polished, professional, whatever. It just, a little bit of air goes a long way, I find. But again, not every time. It often does not work. But in this case, I liked it. All of these vocal auxes go to my lead vocal sum, a little bit of de-essing.
Drunken angel, want you to live.
Very light, very subtle. I like her S's. They are not that harsh to me.
Drunken angel, want you to live.
Just a little bit of soothe. Decapitator. This is going to be significant, I think.
Drunken angel, want you to live. Everything I couldn't get.
Yeah, this is one of those things that pulls her out of the speakers for me. Keeps her right where she needs to be. This isn't even moving. No, that's just basic template stuff. There you have it. That is my lead vocal chain. Now let's talk about effects for the lead vocals. I will mention on this lead vocal bus, there's a side chain. That's all this is going to all the compressor, or goes to the compressors that are on all the time-based stuff, right? I mean, this is verse, verb, gets it. All these reverbs, delays sometimes. That's what that is. Additionally, I have the affects, which is parallel distortion on the lead vocal. So this is another thing that adds a lot up in the upper mids. So it's very, very subtle. But this is another thing that just makes it sound pro and polished.
Drunken angel, want you to live. Everything I couldn't get.
Right, bunch of stuff on top. I'm usually right around, minus 30 on this fader. That's a good spot for me to live. So let's look at more individual vocals. We have chorus verb, which is getting mute automation when we're not in the chorus. Oh, it happens in the verse as well. So it only comes out for the bridge, and that's where I bet I switch over to a different reverb, and that's exactly what's happening. So you'll notice on these triples of vocals, I only have it on the center vocal. I'm not sending the sides. That's just to help keep things clean. I don't need all three of these going to the reverb, because I also have effects on all these background vocals and things. So let's see what that verb is doing.
Familiar, forgotten, twin flame. Vocals, warm blood in your veins. Must have known you long before I knew your name. Drunken angel.
Cool. It's doing -3 on the loudest notes, which is cool, because I usually like it living around -1, -2, and then it can peak up higher. And that's exactly what we got going on there. I will play with the release. I like this here. Sometimes I'll pull it all the way back if I just need to stay out of the way a little bit more. I got no problem doing that. But that was cool. Yeah, distortion before the reverb.
Drunken angel, want you to live. Everything I couldn't get.
Yeah, man, distortion before or after. I mean, it just sends more into the reverb, which I think is so cool. Pre-delay is my best friend, as well as sidechain compression. This is how I stay out of the way of, keep the reverb heard, but separate from the lead vocal, so everything isn't just a mushy mess. What else do we have here? We have a lead vocal slap. Again, just on the center track.
Drunken angel, want you to live. Everything I couldn't get.
Cool. 91. You just move it till it feels good. I really like this BBD delay, whatever this is. Sometimes I'll go to Echo Boy, but if this does the trick, I don't need to do anything else. So I don't need a big wide thing. That's one reason I might go to the Echo Boy if I want something wider. But this vocal is tripled. Like, I just need a little something up the middle, just kind of shake it. So that's that. I don't have much of that, but a little dabble do ya. Again, treating this center one as my main. I'm going to Woolly and Side Shaker, which are a couple tricks I got from Tom Elmhurst. Woolly, listen to the low end of the vocal on the sides. Like, this is width on the lower frequencies.
Drunken angel, want you to live everything I couldn't get.
Now, on Side Shaker, listen to the width of the lead vocal on the upper frequencies.
Drunken angel, want you to live everything I.
This is a way to do vocal widening. You can see I have a spreader bus, which I often use, in addition to Woolly and Side Shaker, but not in this case. I'm just using Woolly and Side Shaker here. Blend to taste, that's all it is. It's very cool. It adds just width, size. Again, it's just something that makes it feel pro. Let me put it in the mix. This will be a little tricky to hear because it is subtle and there's a lot of background vocals going on. There's also the double and the triple hard panned on this lead vocal, but see what you see.
Drunken angel, want you to live everything I couldn't give.
Again, subtle, but it's there. So let's look at it. Woolly, taking off super high, super low. It's going to be the same thing here with Side Shaker. Woolly is a chorus, nothing fast. Side Shaker, 64th dot and a 30-second triplet, so they're close together, but it's just, the sides are doing this. Side Shaker up here, Woolly down here. That works great. Blend to taste. Blend to taste. Again, it's one of those things, sometimes I don't need it, but I wanted her vocal to be large and in charge without being so, it's not a pop vocal always in your face. I just wanted it to have size over this dense production. That is it for the lead vocals. Backgrounds, which for me is where a lot of the magic is. Light stuff. Light stuff. You see I'm not doing a lot except for a couple of special effects down here.
Drunken angel, want you to live.
Let's go in order. We were already into the mixing phase, and then she added more vocals, so there's a lot that was added after the fact. A lot of the stuff up here, almost everything in the bridge. Let's take a broad view of all this.
Forgotten twin flame, warm blood in your veins. Long before I knew your name.
Stuff that needs to be heard will get like Arvox on it, just to kind of help make it a little more pronounced. From there, Punish. Hell yeah.
Forgotten twin flame, warm blood in your veins.
Yeah, if it's going to be weird, let's make it weird, right? Taking out that 150, she just had some resonance down in the low mids. Boosting a little 1.9 to help it cut through, right? This one right below it, similar thing, Arvox, Space Modulator. Oh, Valhalla. This is a good one. It's fun, it's unique, it's different.
Warm blood in your veins. I find the light in you every time I lose my faith. My faith.
Yeah, that's my favorite part of the whole song. That harmony when that comes in. We'll play all vocals together just so we can hear it because I want to hear it. So cool. This verse 2 is just absolutely incredible.
I time I lose my faith.
Oh man, the way that rubs together is just so goddamn cool. If you watched the first episode, I'm sorry, I'm talking about it again. Let me play it with like these the string slide, because it's just the way everything rubs together. It's just so beautifully imperfect.
I find light in you every time I lose my faith.
Everything's just oh. Damn, I love that shit. Okay, let's keep moving through these backgrounds. But space modulator, that's a great way to just throw something out wide. You can get crazy stuff with it, which is really cool. But sometimes when I need something different happening, it's an easy one to reach for. Stuff like this. Okay. This was a moment with her lead vocal that was different from the demo. When I got the new vocals in, it was clear that this was a moment. This was supposed to be something intentional. So it took me a minute to kind of figure out what was the right move. So you see like her lead vocals drop out right here.
Future past, our daughters getting good grades. Their eyes must smile. I find light in you.
Right, so it's just trying to find like the right thing, because in the song, it almost like without doing any kind of crazy stuff, it just kind of falls flat and stops, which is a bummer because the next line is my favorite part of the whole song. So I needed to make this moment work, and like so we can get to that next line, right? Just keep things moving forward.
Future past, our daughters getting good grades. Their eyes must smile. I find light in you every time
Right, the arrangement's so cool, and this is just definitely something needs to happen here. So let's deconstruct and find out what the hell I'm actually doing here, because I don't remember. So she's got this one line playing piano. That's cool. And then it sets up to this, your eyes must smile. Like it just sets up for like a big, wide, weird whooshing thing. So that's what I intended. So playing piano, what's happening there? We have Arvox to hold it steady. Decapitator so we can hear it, but I'm also filtering so it's lo-fi. Chorus puts it out wide. Compression, holding it steady and consistent, because now that it's out wide it can get a little weird. And then primal tap is the delay, which whenever I need a weird delay effect, primal tap. Yeah, weird, right? So that just kind of trails off, but it's mostly, it's contained. It's in the middle in terms of the stereo field. Like it's right here, and then everything has to go out wide. I think that might have been the original, and then I faked the rest, which is Arvox into. There's that reverb again. It was new, so I liked it on everything. That's cool, and that is like, what's the dry wet? It's hard to tell. 7650. All right, 50% wet. Doesn't really matter what this was. 76, 50, great. 7650. In addition, I have, I remember this. Shout out Justin Sheriff. He got me on this. Air Windows Consolidated. That's what that means. It's a plugin. I don't have Black Cat, that thing, so I can't do like these, whatever kind of plugins that is. I don't fucking know. but it doesn't pull up in my Pro Tools, right? So I used Audio Hijack, which is a great thing. If you need to know about it, let me know. But I was able to put my plugin in there and then basically screen record. So that's why it says system audio on this right here. But I used it for like a weird glitching effect, I believe. Yeah. So it's just like a weird stuttery nonsense. Let's see if I'm automating anything. Just volume and then a bunch of stuff. Okay. So let's dive in. So I printed that audio. So putting it in there already was fucked up. Okay, yeah, whatever I did, I fucked it up somehow with Air Windows Consolidated. Then I brought it into the session, and I have a filter on it. Little altar boy, great, which I am pitching down the formant as we go. That's what's giving it that demon quality. Crystallizer. Yep, it's fast, it's weird, it's whooshy, it's also in reverse. So that's what's giving me that wrap around stereo spread. A little bit of that, why not? So what this is doing, TrueVerb is, I've set it up like this to be my front to back panner. This is not anything I invented. This is from Jason Joshua, another goat. But what this is doing, if you look at the distance here, what it's doing is it's coming closer and closer and closer. So what I was trying to do is simulate like this whooshing, like everything's turning demonic, and it's as if it's like flying right over your head, right? So this, in combination with this octave low, great, and then I have some kind of harmony.
Your eyes, my smile.
So that might be the OG, that might be unaffected, I can't remember now. So all of this crap together.
Your eyes, my smile.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be the giant, massive thing, but I wanted it to be dynamic and move, and it's clearly its own special moment, right? The lead vocals drop out, so I need it to be a thing. And the big whoosh is just a good way to get back into this big kick drum downbeat where we could land and go back into the normal sounding verse, right? So if I take everything out of solo and put it in context.
Good grace. Your eyes, my smile. I find light in you every time I lose my faith. My faith.
Yeah, that to me just feels good, man. It's a tight, good second verse, right? Don't bore us, get to the chorus, and then we're right back in it. I think that's so good, so well done. Good job, Bridget. What are these? A couple more harmonies. Yeah, I love that up there. That little whisper effect, super cool. Whatever these ones were, didn't need them, but I brought them back in on my faith, so that part can grow. Again, just really playing with the arrangement, not being afraid to mute stuff, bring it back, blah blah blah. Okay, moving through vocals, man. What else do we got here? That's it for verses. We got a little call and effect stuff. Chorus. This was OG harmonies in the chorus, and I think she gave me more. Yeah.
Drunken angel, want you to live everything I couldn't give.
Yeah, basic chorus harmony. Going to the chorus verb just to marry it with the lead vocals that are going to the same reverb unit. And then what was up here? This whole second group that's soloing on and off, those are my new background vocals. So these came after we started mixing the process.
Drunken angel, want you to live.
I thought those were so good because I really like solidified the major tone of the chorus, which is so different from the verse and the bridge. So that's great. I fucking love that. Not much. The last chorus, we get a couple new vocal lines with these liars.
Right from within. Couldn't give.
Yeah, just a couple fun tracks to emphasize it and just let things grow, which is so cool because you're coming out of just the most epic bridge. Like, you need things to step up going into that last chorus. It can't be the same thing that we already heard before the bridge. It's got to be new, and she did a great job arranging these background vocals. Super cool. Love it, love it, love it. So she's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and these are doubled left and right. So really, it's 2, 4, 6, 8, whatever. Yeah, super cool. Love it. Let's the bridge. There's a lot of really cool stuff going on, and like I was pointing out, like I have RVox on a lot of the individual tracks. That's something I'll do for backgrounds, as opposed to leaning on the main background vocal bus for most of my compression. Like, you see my compressors off here, unlike the lead vocals, because there's so many different tracks. Everything's just gonna overpower each other in the compressor, and nothing's gonna sit right. So do it on the individual track, and it'll make your life a lot easier. Bridge vocals. Let's get into it.
Nothing to say. Nothing to say. Nothing to say.
So just spreading out these main 3 things that she's doing in unison with her lead vocal, just making it big, weird, wide. RVox, hold it still. Chorus at a different setting. Chorus at another different setting, right? I don't want anything lining up and being nice and tidy. Nothing about this is nice and tidy.
Nothing to say. Nothing to say. Nothing to say.
Yeah, the nothing is cool. Where is that?
Nothing to say. Nothing.
Right, so she's kind of singing her own delay there, and I liked that idea. So I threw, what do I have, crystallizer at 50%, just to kind of fill in the blanks, right? Like in between.
Nothing.
Yep, sans amp allows you to hear it. Cool. Yeah, I love this moment right here where everybody's just feels like like everybody's like pushing up against the wall, like whatever distortion's happening there. We can take a closer look. Let's just soothe. What do I got here? Valhalla space modulators. Push out wide. Not afraid to do all this stuff. You know, she's got so many different layers. Some stuff can be clean. Some things you can just fucking mangle. Even that, I'm not hitting that hard. A little bit of crystallizer there. So that's probably the main. Telephone effect, filter it out, crush it. Into a little bit of a ear candy there with crystallizer. What's this guy up here doing? Just big and out wide. Big and out wide. And then we get into the more singing part.
Nothing to say. Nothing to say. Nothing left to say.
Super cool. Super, super cool. Goddamn. With her leads.
There's nothing to say, nothing to say, there's nothing left to say.
I'll tell you, man, when I was doing this, when I got all these vocals in, it's I've been talking about this whole time, but like knowing when not to do something is more important than knowing when to do something, or just as important. But like, you know, these first two can be a little more in tune, like that's great. But this last one, there's fucking nothing in tune about it, and that's what's great about it.
There's nothing left to say.
Right, so all I did, you see this VAU here, that's just vocal line, but I'm not doing any pitch stuff right there. But I am doing some pitch stuff right here on these two.
Nothing to say, nothing to say.
That's pretty, and then you have this.
There's nothing left to say.
Like everything just descends into chaos. That's what's happening there. So leaning into it, don't fucking tune that. If you tune that, you're gonna get fired, man. Like that's not. Listen to what's there. What are we actually doing to any of these? Anything fun? Little Echo Boy. Like, why would I put a channel strip on each of these with, you know, compression and EQ? Like, let it be raw, let it be fucking mangled. Send it to the reverb. Everybody's getting bridge verb in this section. Hell yeah, love that. Yeah, different effects. Somebody's getting an 1/8 delay there. What else is happening? I saw chorus verb. Oh, that's before. I saw, yeah, 1/8 note, and then somebody had a 1/4 note, but you are just at the very end. You're getting 1/4 note. Okay, scene changes, man. Different effects, different times. What else can I possibly say about this? There's one other cool thing. In the bridge here. I love this little part. She gave me that sound baked already, whatever effects she used to get that. And then I duplicated it and I added, what am I doing? Pitching it up an octave, down a formant, adding drive. And then also fresh air, just a tone shape, because you just cannot hear it without all this, right? It's just all dark and muddy. So bringing it up there. So cool, man. So cool. So let's look at that bridge reverb because it is different from the chorus. Medium vocal room based on that 107 pre-delay. That's big because everything's sustaining. Again, you want to hear the reverb, but get a little bit of separation and clarity with the lead vocal. So pre-delay is huge, in addition to my sidechain compressor. But after that reverb, we are distorting it. Great. Let's see what we're doing. Let's get all vocals, huh? We'll do all vocals and see what this decapitator's doing.
There's nothing to say. There's nothing to say. There's nothing to say. There's nothing to say. Nothing to say. There's nothing left.
Yeah, it's a color, right? It's just a color palette. Like I guess you can hear it better with it, but it's just too clean, too polite without it. So we put it in. Okay, what's on the background vocals? I have a little bit of soothe.
There's nothing to say. There's nothing. Angel, right from within. Eyes must smile.
I'm not afraid to be more aggressive with the soothe when it comes to background vocals. As long as they're, you know, I just want to keep it out of the way of the lead vocal. That's, as long as I'm doing that, I'm happy. Basic tone shaping, adding a bunch of harmonics, fill it out, taking out a bunch of honk. Wow, a lot at 432. Let's see what's bad about 432. Boom and boom. Boy, okay, that's pretty aggressive, but it's kind of sharp, and that fucking sucks with it in there. So yeah, take that shit out. That's nasty. Cool. A little more harmonics. This is light. Also 21. Yeah. Cool. And sibilance. Again, like soothe. I'm gonna be a little more aggressive on the de-essing for the background vocals because you don't need 20 S's. Which, here's a little tip: if you're doing background vocals, recording background vocals, it's a good idea to not have your background vocals do the S. So when you're singing backgrounds, even if you're just doing yourself, your own voice over and over again, don't do the S. Try to omit the S from the word because you just don't need that much. It's a little tricky, but if you can do it, great. It takes some getting used to. A little more soothe. True verb doing nothing? No, you're not doing anything. Get out of there. You're not needed. That means that all that's left is to talk about all this fun shit at the end. ABC bus plus a rear bus in this mix. So, what is happening here? Let's start with the A bus. A bus, drums and bass. Not even moving. At most, I want that doing a dB anyways. Oh shit, this is new. I've never done this before. I think I have this on just for the true peak. I think some peaks were getting through that were going over, and I was just playing it real safe, and I had that on so nothing would go over true zero or whatever the fuck that means. Yeah, don't overthink it. B, vocals.
Drunken angel, right from within. Everything
Something like this, dual mono. Stereo will be fine, but there's some panning shit that happens here, so I don't want it to affect absolutely everything. But again, barely doing anything. C bus is everything else. Guitar, strings, harps, keys, whatever. I always have this in mid-side mode. It's mostly about this tape thing up at the front, and then the mastering section here, the limiter, whatever. This is great. It's volume, yes, but it squeezes just a little bit. You know, mix is only at 63. Yeah, that does a lot. This and that, that's enough. Sometimes spreader, sometimes I'll do a mid-side EQ. Again, just to make more room for the vocals if I need it. There you go. And then this is a fun one. Soothe, but it's a side change from the vocals, right? The B bus. So this is just a little extra safety thing I do. This probably does like a 5%, no, less than that. 2% difference, ultimately. But I think it helps. It makes me feel better about it anyways. Yeah, cool, right, 34%. I can crank it. Yeah, just a little bit of, just making a little bit of room. A little bit of room. That's all good. Great, so you see on my B bus and C bus unity gain, rear bus. This is something I took from Andrew Sheps. Sometimes it works, sometimes it does not. In this case, she working. 1176, 2 to 1, fast attack, fast release, barely moving. I want to see 1 to 3 dB at most, I think. So, if you don't know about this, Andrew certainly explains quite a bit, but I will tell you, because I like you, because you're watching my video. Check this out, rear bus. This is basically taking a parallel compression of the whole mix, kind of, right? We're not doing drums or bass in our case. Andrew also does bass with his, but I'm doing a different thing. So, anyways, yes, I'm getting 1 to 3 dB of reduction. But what this is about is not the gain reduction, but what happens when the gain reduction stops. So when things come back up in volume, that's really what it is. It's about pulling things back into place. So like how on the C bus I have soothe, making room for the vocals, pushing the music out of the way. This is almost doing a complementary thing, but opposite, where the vocals are the loudest thing. So that's what's causing the compression. Right, when the vocals are playing, it's right, like it's only moving when the compressor or when the vocals are playing. So what that means is, yes, it's making a little bit of room for the vocals, but when the vocals are gone, the music comes back up in volume. So everything is really pretty consistent. So it's almost like the mix is self-balancing in a way, a little bit. Like that's not fully what's happening, but it's a good way that just kind of keeps things present and heard. So there's going to be a big level jump with the rear bus. I'll take it in and out, but it'll be hard to tell kind of what it's really doing. That didn't help anybody. But yeah, it's just a big thing. And I always start with it on, and I'll know pretty quickly into mixing if it's going to be helpful to keep it on or if I should let that shit go. And I'll say it's about 60-40 of keeping it on. So, main mix. Let's talk about it. My mix bus. I have the ATR 102. Tone shaping is cool. I always just cycle through these and just find one that fits best. Same thing here. Like if it sounds good, I'll just leave it. But they all have a little different qualities. A little bit of wow and flutter is cool on a track like this. Crosstalk, transformer, great. Hiss and hum, I almost never use because I just don't need the noise. Yeah, but hitting like right around -1 on the tape machine. Same with the Studer. Like get it to hit like -1 on average. It's pretty great. Try to stay out of the red zone, generally speaking. A little bit of inflator, magic box. Dude, I'm telling you, man, 10.7 right now, but sometimes this at 100 is the way to go. I just did a mix with this at 100, so totally depends. that's just size. It fills out a little bit. I love it. I love it. Yeah, I've been really loving this guy. API 2500, can't get enough. But I have this setting, so, you know, down at 63%. I can hit this pretty hard at often 4-to-1. That's where my preset comes into play. But 2-to-1 on this, I just didn't need that much. Again, unlinked on this, so sides can breathe and everything can have their own fun. Master desk, man, do I love this. Man, resonant filter, watch this. Absolutely crazy. EQ up here, if you read the manual, it goes 0 to 30. 30 is not 30. 30 is 3. So you can get pretty detailed stuff in here, which I love. Sometimes they use the mid-band, like put it right there. Ooh, that could do a lot. So just a little bit on the top for treble and presence. Mono maker comes in handy. A little bit of love on the outsides. Sometimes I play with this, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I play with this, sometimes I don't. In this case, that's what I got. Dangerous. Yeah, this almost never changes from these settings. MD mix bus here. Up 1 dB at 2.5 shelf on the sides, and then 1 dB at 74 at the middle. Sometimes, however, something cool happens when you go like that. I just did a mix where I did it like that, and that did a lot. It's just low-end control. Somehow things tighten up when you cut at 12 hertz, which is inaudible. 18, also inaudible, but there's something happening, obviously, to the rest of the spectrum, because you can hear a difference. And it sometimes, if you got a big, flabby, loose, low end, doing that, it can really be a difference maker, but not needed in this case. Lastly, I've been integrating this a little bit more and more into my workflow here, and what I've been doing and what worked with this was the last thing to come onto my mix bus. So I get the mix pretty much dialed in the way I want it to, and then I throw this on almost like a little bit of a safety net, and it treats it just like a little bit like a mastering curve, where it just kind of, you know, just does a little click into place, just a little, and then I'm good. So this has become quite useful, but again, I'm usually down at 70-ish%. Let's do with it without. So this defaults at 50 right here, and sometimes there's big moves, and if I put it on and I see big moves, then I know I need to go back and change something in my mix and fix some of these frequencies and EQ points. But this is pretty mellow, right? Like, that's not a drastic difference at all. This is really just like a little safety net. And then again, I have this down at 78% because it's very mild. But this is just a little bit of a safety net for me. Additionally, I should mention, this was my first mix on this Slate VSX headphones, and I'm primarily a headphone mixer. I never have a good sounding space. I've moved around a lot since doing this, so I'm not investing in the space when I know I'm going to move. So that said, Slate VSX has been kick-ass, but this was my first full mix solely on those headphones. So with new monitors, that was all the more reason to have a plugin like this, a smart plugin, to just kind of verify or you know, confirm my my mixing decisions. So that has been quite useful. Let's see here. Why are we clipped? Oh, I should mention. So these last three are part of my mastering chain. So these come off, actually, except for this one. I have one last little bit of EQ here. That stays on, and I'll turn off the maximizer. But while I'm mixing, I'm always mixing into these limiters because I want to know what it is they're going to do. I don't want to be surprised when I get a master back and my balances are just different, right? That sounds like a fucking nightmare. So I never am surprised. I always know basically what's going to happen. So this first limiter, it's very, very fast. That's, US, so it's, one unit of measurement faster than milliseconds. So very quick, not getting a lot of gain out of it. I just want to clip off the top of the peaks a little bit. Just want to round them over. I'm not clipping necessarily, right? I'm not clipping. I'm just softening them. So I'm just kind of rounding things over, pushing down a little bit with the limiter. Again, I never want to do more than 3 dB with this. And I never want to rely on just one thing to do all my things. So that's why I like this living around -2. Cool. Just, peaking just a little bit. And then I go into standard clip. This is a good way for me of getting volume. This is a clipper. Again, though, pretty subtle. Just like that kick and snare are just so prominent. It's really just a little bit will do you. And then that goes into my ozone here. Elements, the free version. This is ozone 9 even. Maximizer. This is just my final level. Gets me up there. Right, so I usually want to get up to like -8, -7. Never really want to go past that. So that's all that is, right? And that's barely moving. What I will pay attention to are these factors right here. So I did like transient emphasis up. This is at 2%, which really could be 0. But I have it at 2 for whatever reason. If I go any more, the vocals will kind of get swallowed up by the sides. So I just like a little bit of a difference from left to right in terms of the transients and sustains. So I just wanted it to be a little bit different. So that was enough for me. 140 character, great. I'm usually between 85 if I want super fast, and then less than 2. So 140, great. This is kind of a ballad anyways. And that put me at a good level. And I was happy. So, like I said, when it comes time for mastering, boom, boom, I need that little bit of EQ because that's part of my mix. That's what we've been listening to. And then I'll print it like that at, whatever level this is going to be now. Cool. So those 3 limiter things are basically giving me -7 or so. 7 dB of gain is what it's doing with just, a little bit of control on the peaks. And I'll tell you, that's it. We really had the sound dialed in, so we didn't need to do terribly much on the mix when we got here, because we took that time and really cultivated the sounds and just curated the vision and just, leaned into that. Like, we didn't need much. This was great. I'm so happy I got to do this. It's so fun to produce. And then to be able to mix it again, it's my favorite fucking thing in the world. So look at that, my 2 bugaboos I got to do on this song. So thank you, Bridget, for giving me the opportunity to produce it and then mix it. Super cool. Love it so much. I sent it to Blck Mastering, Nebel, as the mastering guy. I tried him out on this one, and he crushed it. He did absolutely phenomenal. And he showed me he used Inflator at 100%. That was one of the things he did. So fucking, it's a great plugin. But he was great. He filled out the vision, and this song fucking slaps. So check it out. It's so good. It's everywhere. Any questions on this shit, feel free to comment below. I will do my very, very best to reply to you. I have like fucking 4 subscribers, so it's not too much to keep track of. So thank you guys. Appreciate it. Anything you need, if I could be of service in any way, I'm happy to dive deeper into things. I could talk more about like the Slate VSX stuff, because that was like a big shift in my unit here. Cool. Yeah. Be nice to each other. Don't be assholes about shit. And fucking happy mixing.